Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sessions Cafe. I'm your host, Keri D. Singleton, and today we are back with my man, Geechie Dan. What's going on, brother?
What's up, Keri?
We got a lot more to talk about. Let's get right into it. Let's get right into it. Hip-hop, man, has... many have the opinion that it has evolved. Mm-hmm. I don't necessarily share that opinion. So we about to have an episode of truth. I must just say this. Mm-hmm. I mean, well, I'm gonna start with, listen, it's not about my opinion. Right. It's about yours. I don't want to influence it at all. But being that you've been with the genre so long, and that you understand that hip hop is not just rap. Right. That it is one element of rap. This is why I want to kind of pull a lot of information from you regarding today versus yesterday. Right. But we'll start with a couple of questions that should just open up the dialogue. All right. Shall we? Shoot. Well, I mean, first and foremost, what in your opinion was hip hop's best years in music? Or, God forbid, if you think today's...
Now you know better.
I'm just asking, brother. I have to be...
I know you got to ask, but you know better.
But what... I guess rephrasing the question, what in your opinion was or is hip-hop's best years in music? Specifically in music. Because again, it encompasses breakdancing and graffiti.
I think the best years in hip-hop,
well, we should say in rap.
In rap, yeah, hip hop. I think from 1984. Okay. To 1995. Okay. I think that's the best, because now you got new school, you got the winding out of the first generation, which is like 1973 to 1983.
And for those that are not in the know, who were some of those artists from that era?
In the first generation?
The first generation, yeah.
Grandmaster Flash, Furious 5, Funky 4, Plus One, Curtis Blow.
UTFO?
UTF would be, yeah, I can put, you can put UTF.
Latter part of the first generation.
Latter part of the first generation, yeah. Okay. Crash Crew, Treacherous 3, okay, Fearless 4, okay, Soul Sonic Force. That would be my first generation hip hop heroes, legends, and icons.
The true foundational rap artists. Yes. I want to use the word rap because I want to, again, a lot of people just don't get that hip hop is not just music. So I'm trying to,
Busy Bee. Yeah. The tapes, the beginning, some of the tapes that were early on from that I have, part of my collection, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82.
Would you say that the first generation would perhaps be the generation of hip hop, that the movie Wild Style?
That's definitely.
See, that's one of my favorite.
That's one
I think
of my
it's
favorites
so
too.
Underrated. Yes. When people talk about their favorite hip hop movie, for me, it's really Wild Style.
Wild Style felt like a documentary movie. Yeah. I love Wild Style.
It was raw, but it gave you unfiltered.
Unfiltered, just raw. Yeah. South Bronx. Yeah. Burning buildings. Right. The beginning, infancy.
The graffiti on the trains and everything.
It can't get no better than Wild Style.
Exactly. And so going back to the original question, you would say that in your opinion, 1984?
1984 to 1995.
95, okay.
That's when I think my best, because you got New School, and then you got LL coming into the picture.
Well, New School then.
Houdini coming into the Fat Boys. Then you got
Salt and
Pepper. Then you got Roxanne Shante. Right. Then now you started to come with more diverse artists. Right. Biz Markie, Fresh Prince. Right. Then you have KRS-One. Then you got Public Enemy. Then you had NWA. Then you have Hammer. Latifah.
There was a lot more diversity.
Definitely.
I think that in the era that you're referring to, I have to agree with you, although for me, I would extend it up a little bit into maybe 96, 97, only because I personally enjoyed the Biggies.
Right. That's why it took me so long to answer that, because I thought about 97.
Right, to encompass, yeah.
Yeah, because I wanted to include Biggie.
Yeah, and
Jay-Z.
Right. But yeah, there was diversity. You had the artists that talked about what was happening on the West Coast.
Right.
Their experiences.
Yes.
Living in South Central Los Angeles and up in the Bay Area of California. But you also had people here on the East Coast that were talking about like De La Soul and Queen Latifah and the more cultured sound of hip hop.
Yes.
That were more focused.
You get the reinsurgence of the South.
Yeah, that
South,
too.
And then the Midwest.
Right.
So you got Bun B, you got Too Short, you got Hammer, you got Ice-T, you got Vanilla Ice, then you got
the Ghetto
Boys from Houston. Right. So now you got more people contributing to this big pot of gumbo called hip hop.
There was diversity, and you had more of a choice. And so you would definitely say that between 1984 and 1995, 6, 7. Okay. Another pop question I want, and I'm going to give you a series of questions because I want to spark conversation in this segment. The first segment, we talked about you. We're going to keep doing that in this segment, but I really want to get into the meat and potatoes about hip hop. Self-Destruction.
Yes.
Was a song that came out that was a collective with a lot of different artists from a lot of different regions, from a lot of different offshoots of hip hop.
Right.
Okay? All came together under one umbrella.
Yes.
Do you think that the same thing could happen today? Why or why not?
I don't think it can happen today.
I don't either. But what?
I think because today's generation is they're not political, they're not social conscious, they more for money.
Yeah.
This is the money. This is a money generation.
Yeah.
This is a generation where skills, being social conscious, being political, to this generation, that's not something important for them.
Yeah.
Where we took it, where it was we took it as we using the platform, we using hip hop culture, we using the platform that we was doing our music,
right?
Or we was doing our gifts, our arts,
right?
We was doing
fashion.
That to add on to doing collaborations with rock and roll and country music and being political conscious and social awareness,
and also
type of songs.
In that era, hip hop was also branching into films.
Hip hop was branching out all over the place.
Yeah.
Now it just seems like we're stuck. And that's a problem that I'm trying my hardest right now to correct, because people now think that there's nothing else to talk about in hip hop.
Yeah.
And it's just a big machine, a big money, billion-dollar business machine,
right.
instead of looking where hip hop can go.
Right.
Taking it further. Let me give you an example. I did a show with Rock the Bells on Planet of the Tapes several months ago called Hip Hop and NASA. It was space and hip hop.
Okay.
And I did a whole 4-week tribute to referencing songs, playing songs that reference space and different planets and stars and moon.
Okay.
And I did a collaboration with Shevik and with NASA.
Okay.
And we talked about the idea of playing music in space. We talked about playing music, hip hop tapes and on Mars and on the moon, and park jams on Pluto, and having conversations, because NASA is going to be building hotels and apartment buildings on the moon in the year 2040.
Wow.
So, if we want to have a conversation about building on another, another planet or on the moon,
right?
Well, then we have to talk about music,
right?
You're going to have people on the moon in an apartment and not play music,
right?
Come on,
right?
So, I wanted to put it out there that, where we at right now, people's not thinking. They not thinking up here.
They're stagnant.
They're stagnant. Yeah. They're not thinking about having hip hop in Antarctica.
Right.
They're not talking about having hip hop on top of Mount Everest and holding a boombox radio. They're not talking about having hip hop, a hip hop platform that's global.
Yeah.
Like a Sirius XM International or iHeart International or a television station that is live hip hop that can reach 200 countries and lands and islands. And they're not talking about hip hop as far as they're not talking about hip hop
as a global entity.
Right. They try to keep it in the box.
Right.
And you can't keep hip hop in the box.
Well, the other thing though is when we're talking about music of any genre, because I don't think this is just, I don't think this is indicative of only rap music. I mean, R&B has a super decline, and real solid pop music. When I think of pop music, I think of artists like Genesis and George Michael and Madonna.
Right.
Pop music has changed too, not necessarily to the degree as rap music and R&B music, but with only 1 minute left before we go to break, a lot of it has to do with the fact that the structure of the music business has changed as well.
Yeah.
I think I'm definitely guilty of closing my ears to artists that have come out since 2000. Like I won't listen to any music that's come out after 2000.
I do the same thing.
Unless it's an artist that was already out and released new music. That goes for hip hop and or R&B, right?
Right.
But I think a lot of the change isn't necessarily exclusively the fact that the artists are, well, in my opinion, less talented, less creative, less innovative, but it also has to do with the vehicles that they've been given. The lack of A&R, the lack of record labels. The record labels at least gave artists structure and some kind of design as to how their project was going to go and how it was going to be marketed. If you don't have that, then it's become a situation where it's a free-for-all. People don't have a plan. There's no such thing as a New Music Tuesdays. Music is just released when people feel like it.
Right.
There's no structure.
Right.
So, you can't really blame just the artists when there's just no structure in what they're doing in the first place.
Right.
We're going to come back and we're going to talk more. We're going to bring the conversation more back home to you. We've already had a great conversation, I believe, on hip-hop now versus yesterday. And I think we can both agree in our own way that there definitely needs to be some improvement.
Right.
So
we're going to talk about that.
We're going to talk about that.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll be right back. And we're back on Sessions Cafe with my brother, Geechie Dan. Listen, I believe that everybody on this planet, as a person who has written 2 novels, I say this to people all the time, everybody has a story.
Yes.
Every single person that walks this planet has a story.
Yes, I agree with you on that.
And you have one.
I got several stories.
You got a lot of stories. And I was going to ask you before the break, did you plan on pulling all of your experiences together and all of the fantastic things that you've seen and witnessed and the hands that you've shaken and the moves that you've made in the rooms that you've been in? Do you plan on pulling all that together into like some kind of a book or documentary or something?
Yes. When I first started out collecting these tapes, it was always documentary, some type of track keeping for these tapes, whether it would be in the form of a book or a documentary. So over the years, as I got more popular and what I do with these tapes, I said it would be a good idea to do a documentary and a book and do both. Now, I wanted to do a book called Planet of Tapes Volume 1 or the Book of Tapes Volume 1, Book of Tapes Volume 2.
Which is, I want to clarify, that's a play on the film Planet of the Apes.
Planet of the Tapes.
Right, that's what the, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So the documentary, basically, it's going to be, we're talking about 1,200 tapes.
Wow.
And I wanted to play at least 10 to 12 tapes. I wanted to play, I didn't want it to be where it drags.
Right.
I wanted to keep it interesting.
You don't want to inundate it with constantly, yeah.
And so I wanted to play some of the tapes because what's been going on is that people have been doing documentaries and they mentioned, tapes, cassette tapes, but they haven't really gone into really talking about tapes.
Right.
The history of the mixtapes, the history of the tapes, the live parties,
right.
The block parties, the house, jams and from these clubs.
And you have one hell of an encyclopedia.
Yeah.
Where it relates to these tapes. Yeah.
Yeah. So the documentary is basically talking about the tapes, the individuals on the tapes, the pioneers. What was the vibe of that party, or block party, or live performance at that time? What was their attire? And instead of playing vinyl through the documentary, I wanted to use tapes,
right,
and play the actual tape,
right,
and have the person that I'm interviewing, like Stevie D from the Dr. Rock Force MCs, I have him interview Cold Crush, Grandmaster Cass, all these pioneers that's part of the documentary, so we could really get into the meat and potatoes of the soundtrack of the streets.
Right, right.
That these tapes are the essence of hip hop.
Right.
And that's where so that's what I believe. So I wanted that to resonate to people that's interested in hip hop, people that's getting to, that's passionate like myself, and they wants to know more about hip hop and its history. This documentary is going to hit right at home. And then I wanted to follow up with the book of tapes, where I discuss 400 tapes per volume.
Wow.
And each page is dedicated to a tape, and then I add a flyer of that tape.
Yeah.
And
wow.
And have one person that's on that tape talk about what was going on at this particular party or park jam or this event at the community center that this party was going, that was happening. So that's why I said there's going to be a volume, tape 1 through 400,
right.
volume 1, then
wow.
401 to 800.
So are you prepared to sit down and listen to all of these tapes?
I've already started.
Brother, that's a lot of time.
That's a lot of work, man.
That's a lot of time. Work. And dissecting and
you know what's weird? I can listen to one of my tapes and I'll know exactly what's on the tape.
Wow.
I don't even have to play the whole tape. I already know what's on the tape.
You hear a snippet of it.
Yeah, because I took time. It took years for me to convert these tapes to, digitize them to CD and MP3.
Right.
So I had to do it at real time. When I did all this.
Yeah.
I couldn't, I couldn't speed record.
Right.
Nothing. So I already know what's on all these tapes.
Now you know what? Your show on Sirius XM, we didn't get to discuss that really in detail. What is the synopsis of the show? Like, how does that? What happens when we listen to you on LL Cool J show? What is the genesis of your show?
It's the same as it's a mission statement, the same as Rock the Bells, to preserve, to appreciate real hip hop, to appreciate the pioneers that started this wonderful genre of music called hip hop, rap music, and breakdancing. And so the tape show, the Planet of the Tapes, which was ironically an idea. I didn't have a name for the show for the Sirius XM for LL Rock the Bells platform. So I had a Planet of the Tapes logo.
Right.
And I was talking to Chuck D, and he said, yo, why don't you use the logo? He sold me the logo to Planet of the Tapes that he created, and he said, why don't you just name the show Planet of the Tapes?
Wow.
So I said, oh, yo, that's dope.
Wow.
So I went with that, and then I went to Bismarcky, rest in peace to Bismarck. And I asked him what would be the formula to do the show. And he explained to me that everybody's not gonna understand a Cold Crush 4 tape.
Right, of course.
Everybody's not gonna listen to a Funky 4 tape. They're not gonna understand that.
Right.
So what you're gonna have to do is play snippets. You gotta spoon feed people.
That's right.
And you have to play live performances of artists that people are recognized, that they know who. They know Nas.
Right.
They know LL Cool J.
Right.
They know Ice Cube. They know Snoop.
Right.
They know Eminem.
Right.
So what you're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to play their music, live performances, songs. Exactly. And then throw in snippets of Cold Crush.
Right.
And Treacherous 3. And then they be like, oh, okay, so, this is where Nas got this from. This is where Rakim got this style from. Right. And then I do hip hop 101s. For the last, couple of years that I've been doing the show, I give out hip hop 101s. Grandmaster Flash, Furious Five's first group inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in the year 2000 and I believe it was 2007. So,
Now, I feel like there's probably a lot of MCs whose voices are on your tapes that are no longer with us.
Yeah, there is.
So what kind of responsibility do you feel you have to their legacies?
I try to give out hip hop 101s. I try to interview some of their relatives. I play their tapes, and then I let them know if they're no longer here. When I play a tape, I say, I'll give you an example. I played a Soul Sonic Force tape at Bronx River Community Center, 1979. And the individuals on the tape is Pow Wow, who recently passed away. You got Mr. Freeze, who was the Jazzy 5 MCs. He passed away. And then I tell everybody else, it's the Globe. You got MC Globe, Mr. Biggs. And like I said, I do picture collages on my social media. And then I say, I'm listening to this tape with Jazzy 5, Paterson, New Jersey, DJ Jazzy J with the Jazzy 5, and then all the members of the Jazzy 5, I type out, and then I let them know who's no longer with the Jazzy 5 no more.
And has there ever been a moment where the relatives and or loved one of someone who may have passed on or who passed on heard your tapes and reached out to you?
Yes.
What was that?
I had Jazzy. Wow. I had Mr. Freeze's sister, Patricia, reach out to me. I've had, I did a tribute to all those that's no longer here in hip hop. It was a month tribute.
Wow.
It was a month tribute that I did 2 years ago.
Wow.
And me and my co-host, Dami the Artist, DTA, we played songs, freestyles from all the individuals that have passed away in hip hop.
And exclusive.
Exclusive,
stuff.
yes. So we reached out to Cowboy's sister. We reached out to Jam Master Jay's, at that time, Jam Master Jay's cousin, Venus.
Yeah. Who was also, salute to Venus.
Yeah.
So
so when we did a tribute, we had people that were members of the group or family.
Yeah.
And they appreciate it because no one's doing shows like this.
Right.
No one's doing a tribute type shows.
Right.
I've done a tribute to Go-Go Hip Hop. I've done a tribute to Sisters in Hip Hop. I've done a tribute to artists that were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Right.
Artists that was inducted to the Library of Congress.
It's true. It's true, man. That we, collectively speaking, we don't embrace the legacy of our musicians the way that rock and roll bands do, the way that even jazz fans do.
Agree.
It's Louis Armstrong will always be embraced. Mick Jagger will always be embraced. Prince, I don't know what kind of genre you could put him into because he basically did everything.
Right, Michael Jackson.
Right, they'll always be embraced. But
Elvis.
In terms of the music from the streets, I don't know. We don't. Ageism is a thing in hip hop culture. Unfortunately, we got 1 more minute.
Yes.
What's next for you, boss?
Man, I'm going to get involved with hip hop abroad, outside of America. I've been listening to artists in New Zealand, Australia, Japan, South Africa, London, Canada, and I started the International Hall of Fame so I could recognize individuals from all over the world, from all genres of music.
Right.
I'm going to get involved with the UN so I can start collaborating with having organizations with humanity and peace with hip hop.
Right.
Because hip hop is a mission statement that involves peace, love, unity, and having fun.
Right.
Well, the United Nations mission statement is peace.
Right.
So I just think that it goes hand in hand.
Hand in hand, yeah.
So I want to be getting more involved with more humanitarian type of, with United Nations and the UN and different organizations.
Well, thank you so much for giving me all of your time, brother. We'll see you next week.